be disrupted by another player in the times to come. So I am per se in favor of sustainable growth, definitely. There are businesses that turn profitable too. ऐसा नहीं है कि businesses कोई जो अभी प्रॉफिटेबल नहीं है पिछले 3 साल में बट डूइंग अ हैंडसम रेवेन्यू कभी होगा नहीं. बट it's very important to watch all your numbers closely, and it's very important to rely more on data than be carried by your emotional aspirations and see that मेरे competitor ने ये number achieve कर लिया है या मेरे industry में सबको funding मिल रहा है तो मैं भी इसके लिए भाग जाऊं. So it is a game of keeping a right balance of all the aspects and making sure that you're adding value end of the day, because you aren't alone in this journey. You have other families and other individuals that are dependent on you for their livelihood. So if you crash, they go down with you. But if you fulfill or you sail, they all sail along with you. So that's what I'd like to say. There's no right answer to it, but it's how you see it.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. We would also like to know viewpoint from other panelists. Jasjot, sir, would you like to add on?
Sure. Just like Shail said in the end, that there is no right answer. It all depends what you see your entrepreneurial journey as. If you want to be an entrepreneur that wants to rapidly expand, because if you asked me 10 years ago, I would have definitely said sustainable growth. But in today's times, with so many VC funds and so many options for equity in your company, some entrepreneurs choose to just expand rapidly with the help of those VCs and then hand over the company to someone else, to a more experienced parent company to make the venture more sustainable. So it all depends what your thought process is about your company, how you're starting the company, how you're shaping your policies, what do you want to do with your company. So there are a lot of people who just take the company to say 100 200 crores in 2 years and then take out their major share and give it to a bigger company to make it more sustainable. So at the end of the day, saying that in today's day you have the choice to either expand and then go for a sustainable environment, or you can just if you're more conservative in nature, if you think you want to make your company sustainable in itself, then entirely the choice is yours.
Got it. Thank you so much for that input, sir. Nikhil, sir, would you like to add on?
Yes, definitely I can. In my view, I believe more sustainability. For me, sustainability comes first. So setting up a proper system which can lead to exponential growth or fast growth of a company is more important. So you set up a system, a committed and competent team, and then you grow. Once you have a sustainable system in place, I think you have tremendous opportunity to grow exponentially at a faster pace as well. So I definitely am a person who would go for sustainability first and then the scaling up part. But as Jasjot and Shail said, it is upon one's behavior and it is also dependent upon one's likes and dislikes. Everything is feasible in today's world. Companies have really scaled up, then went on to the putting up systems and sustainability. They've gone for the scaling up first, and then they have gone for placing up systems. In today's world, everything is feasible. It is how clear you are in your head about what you want. That is the first part, and and then you can take the way forward according to your own plan.
Thank you so much. Tarvinder, sir, would you like to tell us your viewpoint?
So I think my friends all have put in enough value to this thought already. As my own individual perspective from technology domain, I would suggest that sustainability should be the first motive. But it also depends upon the purpose of your entrepreneur's journey, the purpose of the organization you are going to set up or the startup you're going to set up, whether the purpose is to build an impact or whether the purpose is to build a business. See, if you are going for impact, then obviously I think the expansion is the better way, because you can reach more people very quickly and the impact can be bigger. And if your purpose is to build a business, then I think sustainability should be the focus first. Because I am student of one of our mentors who taught me like 20 years ago, if the business is not profitable in the first year, then it is very hard to make it profitable for next 10 years. So obviously it brings more pressure onto you while you are growing up, that the profitability and sustainability is not there. And then it stops you from experimenting a lot. And the major shift and major focus is always on generating more funding, generating more investors, and lower focus is always on innovation and bringing in new ideas. So if you love your business, or if you love what you do and you want to innovate and improve on it day by day, then I think first focus on sustainability, and then spare some part of your profits or some part of your revenue for a new innovation, new growth, and then keep on growing on it. But again, if it's an impact-based business or impact-based idea, you want to touch more and more people, then I think just no second thoughts, just go for expansion first.
Got it. Thank you so much. I would like to continue from here onwards, as in, we know you have been in the business for quite a long time, right? And lockdown, the pandemic must have been something which was completely unexpected. I would like to know, we would like to know that how have been the growth chart before and after the pandemic, and was lockdown really a very big blow to the business? Tarvinder sir, you can go ahead. We can start with you.
So from what I understand, you want to know what's the impact of pandemic and lockdown on the business, and whether we have changed the course or not, right?
Yes.
Okay. See, initially it was a surprise for, I think, every small and medium scale business. It was a surprise. We have never learned, and we have never ever dealt with this kind of condition in our lifetimes. And we were not prepared to deal with work from home scenarios, or like businesses being, our clients' businesses being shut down on regular basis, payments being delayed, and revenue being affected. There are a lot of different aspects which we faced. But yes, again, as I told you, from my perspective, I tried to maintain my business sustainable and profitable from the very first year of its foundation. So it gave me freedom to bring in new thoughts and new inventions and new ideas, and I could nurture them because I didn't have much pressure on the profitability side of the business. So I can literally move around my aces and move around my resources from one point to another, and from second point to third, and try and small initiatives I took every month, and which initiative I saw that is growing farther, or which initiative is growing with more profit, then I put in more resources into it. And ultimately, after 3 or 4 months, or max 6 months, we were onto the same situation which we were before the pandemic. Yes, it's again happening again and again. Second wave is there, third wave is there. But now I think we have evolved, and we are more resilient than what we were earlier. And we have learned a lot of new ways to generate more clients, to generate more business, as well as to generate more opportunities. That's the most important thing, that we are able to generate more opportunities now. I think pandemic has been a blessing in disguise. It taught us which we were not able to learn from last 15 years. Yeah.
Right, sir. Right. I totally got your point. Jasjot sir, how has been things for WePay?
Honestly, I want to start with saying that the pandemic is only one of the challenges that, we are talking about, because it has affected everyone. An entrepreneur and his company is, affected by challenges every day, every month. And it's just because, it's the personal challenges of a company. It's not talked about that much, but I assure you that the pandemic is only one challenge that everyone is talking about. But saying that, how an entrepreneur, tackles with that challenge is what makes the company grow and, evolves you as a businessman. So the pandemic was, it had good things for many businesses. It had bad things for some businesses, but the businesses that evolved and that, reacted quickly So just like Darwin said, survival of the fittest. So, he didn't mean a person who's physically fit. He meant people who can fit into the situation that they are given. So I'll give you an example, like alcohol distilleries. In the initial 3-4 months when there was a complete lockdown and alcohol wasn't allowed to sell in bars or in the liquor vends, they actually turned around to make sanitizers, and they sold sanitizers and went into profits. And similar things happened with a lot of other people. So rest assured that this pandemic is just one challenge. There's going to be many challenges for entrepreneurs, and we are going to navigate our ways around it. For WePay, the major challenge was that the government had awarded a moratorium, so no one had to pay EMIs out of a compulsion. So our collection efficiency did take a hit. We usually hover at around 90%, 94%, and in the initial first 2-3 months, we came down to 30%. But we recovered very fast. In the March, there was the lockdown, and by September, we were back to 65%. And when we recovered till the second wave came, we had gotten back to around 80%. But surprisingly, the second wave didn't kick us down that much. We only went down to, where we left off in the first wave at around 65%. So I think people were more prepared in the second wave, and, they were more financially comfortable dealing with the lockdown. They knew what to expect. So yeah, that's the story we had to face.
Got it. Thank you so much for that input. Shail, sir, would you like to add on?
I think I'd agree with Jasjot, what he said. Definitely business took a little hit during COVID. The numbers went down. Then after the first hit, you definitely prepare yourself and you realize that what if it happens again, and how quick or how agile you are while taking that action is all that matters. If you're slow and if you take time to change, God knows, not COVID, anything wouldn't be able to help you, even if COVID would not exist. But if you're quick in realizing an average, I was just reading some time back that for a life cycle of an industry, it used to take about 10 years earlier to evolve. It came down to 5 years, and then came down to 2 years, and then now sometimes businesses even evolve in 3 months. You see something launch up very fast and new, and then after 3 months it does not even exist. It's swayed away by something else or something new. So अगर आप fast नहीं है, if you're not quick enough to take decisions, I think nothing can stop you. Even if you were typically in a business that you were doing hotels or events, obviously the first blow came to events, to businesses like these. But then you have to quickly evolve to very fast in your decisions, that what is my backup plan? What do I need to do in order to sustain, in order to make sure that we survive first and then thrive. So the survival plan and the plan to thrive is important.
Thank you so much. I believe that change is the key for sustainability, I would say, in these times. But then again, Nikhil sir, would like to know your viewpoint.
In my view, our business is into steels manufacturing. So steel was one of the sectors which was badly hit. And when the pandemic hit, it was a blow to us, because we have a pretty capital intensive business, which has a limited period of time for the fund to rotate. So when it got hit, I was in a dilemma as well, that, things have come on to a halt, and how will the entire circle work on? But then, as rightly said by Jasjot, you got to evolve quick. You have to be very agile. So not concentrating on the problem, but then thinking about all the opportunities that the pandemic has given you. You've got to think about that. So I got into a proper thinking mode. And then I realized that I need to upskill myself. I need to be more digitally active. I need to involve a lot of, information and knowledge. I need to acquire all those skills to be more, to reach more number of people. As we all have a limited number of audience, so the chances of converting them into sales was limited, and that but to increase my reach, I learned some digital marketing skills, and I went on digital platform, set proper marketing automation, email sequences. I started reaching out to more number of people and increased my audience to a size of nearly 1 lakh people. So now when I was churning information and content to these 1 lakh people, the conversions started happening. So earlier my audience was probably not more than 100 people. So those 100 people were not able to generate us more sales because of the drop down, but we had to generate revenue, right? So when I reached and touched 1 lakh people with information and with more learnings, even 10% of them or 1% of them, when they got converted, we jumped out with eventually a better performance than what we were doing before the pandemic had hit. So in probably 4 months after the pandemic had hit, we were recording the biggest numbers in our lifetime. So last year, we came out of our comfort zones. We pushed our limits, learned new skills, adopted different techniques, and and the movement was very agile. You can't be lazy and lethargic. You have to keep moving. You have to keep learning. You have to take actions on your learnings. Not just acquiring knowledge. It's not going to give you anything. But you need to keep taking consistent actions. Keep persisting. And then I think last year we finished off with very good numbers, and this year as well we had no impact on the second wave of COVID. हमारे ऊपर कोई भी impact नहीं आया because we kept increasing the business. We adopted that new model of business by bringing in and building new leads, and we did that activity on a consistent basis. अभी एवरीडे बेसिस के ऊपर लीड्स जनरेट हम लोग करते जाएंगे, वो लीड को क्वालिफाई करते जाएंगे और उनको कन्वर्ट करने की कोशिश करते जाएंगे. सो दिस मॉडल हैज हेल्प्ड अस survive, not only survive but scale in these times. And as times have changed and हमारे ऊपर एक फाउंडेशन आ गई कि हम बहुत ज्यादा जाके लोगों को मिल नहीं सकते हैं, तो इसको एक अपॉर्चुनिटी की तरह देखें. And you guys are pretty young and you must adopt these new technologies. Tarvinder ji is a perfect example. He can guide you more on the same. And now the world and possibilities of business have actually increased. That's what I believe when I concentrate on opportunities and possibilities. So not all of us, not any one of us should dwell on our problems, but be more focused on the solutions that we can build, and thinking out of the box, not thinking under any pressures is something that is going to make you win. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Nikhil sir. If we can hold on to that thought for a little bit, we are going to move into a round where I'll be asking questions which are specific to each panelist, right? And starting with Nikhil sir itself, earlier I had the question as in how do you make sure that Dhand Steels is unique, right? But then again, you talked about how you adopted to new technology, working on generating new clients. But then again, there are a lot of steel players in Ludhiana and nationwide as well, right? How is this how you keep your company unique from all of it, or if there is anything else that we can get insights from?
Obviously, building leads is only the first part of the game. That does not mean you won the game. So getting the leads into your funnel, but then because steel is a product and there is not much differentiation between what Dhand Steel is selling and what the other person is selling. So now the second focus comes on to the value proposition. What value are we going to provide to the customer? That has to be the differentiator. So in today's world, along with product, service holds a lot of value today. So, we trained our sales staff to be very prompt in replying to customer queries. That was the first part we started working on. It has to be a very smooth experience for the customer. So whenever someone comes up Anyone who touches you digitally, they obviously have an expectation of, they think you are a multinational player, when you are a local player. But when people touch you, over the internet, they think that you are someone who is very expert. So you got to behave like one. We started working on the customer service. We started with a value proposition. The value proposition was something like, we thought, how could we reduce the risk of our buyers? When they're going to spend their money on our products, how can we reduce their risk? So we came up with a value proposition which no steel player has ever put up in this field. So we asked our customers to tell us what are they going to manufacture from our steel. Okay. So when they showed us their product, we guaranteed them if they use our products, and if there is any wastage or any cracks or any defects found in our steel, we would take back the product along with the machining costs they have incurred. So their risk dropped down to almost nil, and they got onto on a surprise mode whether if this was feasible in steel. So this was the value proposition that we put up in front of our customers. So what I believe is, in today's world, whenever you're selling a product, only product does not matter. In today's world, service and your value proposition is the main game changer. So you've got to think hard on what kind of a different value proposition are you going to deliver along with your product. And it has to be unique. The proposition has to be unique. So when you do that repeatedly and you perform on both these things, product and service, I think that is a stepping stone towards your dream and your goal. That is how we went about it.
Definitely, that is certainly something that will set you apart from the competition. But then again, I have another question for you. We know that you have domestic as well as international customers, right? But then again, how does exports can become a big part of revenue, and how is it beneficial for the growth in terms of quality plus quantity?
I think there's a famous saying which not many people have heard. It's easy to earn $1 than to earn a rupee. So the beginning part of the exports is a very challenging one. It's a very difficult one because people are not going to believe you. And you as an entrepreneur, when you're into your first deal, you yourself don't have that much of confidence that, you're going to deliver a great product, because you think that, पता नहीं कैसा प्रोडक्ट बाहर चलता है, उनको सब एडिडास, नाइकी वैसा प्रोडक्ट ही उनको चाहिए, and your product is not going to serve them. That's what you think. But if you're thinking in that direction, you're thinking right, because now you have a benchmark in your head, and now you've got to bring your product and your service, you've got to try to bring it very close to those benchmarks which the customers have. But when you think like that and you act like that, you are in a position to win again. You are in a position. And apart in exports, you've got to have a very good presentation for your company on the internet. You've got to have supported documentations already built up before you enter into a deal, so that a customer or a buyer in exports market is right away going to come to you, but he's not going to believe you at all. He's going to think that you're another Chinese thief from Asia. So that is the general thinking of people in Europe, in US. These are big players. They've got huge quantums of orders with them, but they're not going to drop orders to you without being confident about you. So the first part of the exports is getting the right certifications, getting the right information about the product, getting having a proper technical commercial brochure, a well-defined one with you, and a well-defined easily address at the international market is our email address, right? Your email addresses should never be the domain @gmail.com. They have to be personalized with your own company name domain. And you should have your own company name domains. These help you build confidence and trust with the buyer. These are certain small things, and there's a small checklist that you must always, complete before you enter into exports market. But once you make out once, the first one is the most difficult one. Once you come out of the first one, obviously you get more learnings out of it. There are certain small mistakes that you will make through the process, and that is okay. Making mistakes is a part of the game. And the next time you correct it, and the next time you improve it, and go through a cycle of continual improvement. When you go through a cycle of continual improvement, I think you're going to win big in the exports market. And entrepreneurs from Ludhiana, from Guru Nanak Dev Engineering College, they must come out with great ideas and target to, bring our Make in India product globally, because we've got a huge market out there, out for grasp. People in the Western countries, they have an anti-China, sentiment right now running across the globe. Every one of us know it, right? And, that can actually benefit into our that is a big opportunity for us. It is a big opportunity for people like you, people like us, and we must try to grab it. Go ahead, go into the game. Don't fear the failure. That's okay to fail. Go ahead, just move ahead, take an action. Thank you.
That is that your words will definitely help us infatuate the idea of the Ludhiana to the world game. But then again, I have one more question. Last question for you. What has been your biggest learning throughout the time you have been running this business?
That is a difficult one. I don't believe there's one biggest learning out of this entrepreneurial journey. We all four of us are pretty young in this entrepreneurial journey as of now. And every day is a new challenge for an entrepreneur. Some days you'll have shortage of funds. Sometimes there will be huge breakdowns on the shop floor. There will be people problem, people not performing, people not behaving. So being an entrepreneur is not an easy task. You gotta be a fighter to be an entrepreneur. You gotta be in a mindset of a person who's always hungry to learn, who's always hungry to kill, who's always hungry to learn more systems, more know-hows of how things are done. You must have a way to define your problem statement, and then how do you strategically work around it. So because I haven't had any management studies, so मुझे ये नहीं समझ में आता था कि ये बिजनेस को स्ट्रीमलाइन कैसे करूं, इसको किस तरह से एक सूत्र में बांधूं. So slowly I learned that there are three main things that are required in a business. One is a team, a committed and competitive team of people, because you can't do things all alone. Second is a system to make goals, track goals, a performance management system, to manage those people. And third is a strategy. The strategy defines how you are going to, enter into the market. How are you going to go viral with your product or service? How are you going to be the differentiator? So team, system, and strategy. These are the three things I think are the base of a business. And the more and more deep you go into it, you'll see there is a never-ending, there is no end to the learning that you can get on all three of these. आप जितना डीप जाते जाओगे आपको उतना मजा आएगा, और आप जितना सीखोगे आप उतना एक्सपोनेंशियली ग्रो करते जाओगे. So as an entrepreneur, we must all have an attitude of learning all the time, and the more we learn, the more I realize that I don't know nothing yet. I don't know nothing yet. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Those are really great insights. With this, we'll move on to our next panelist. Shail, sir, will be asking you some questions now. The first one from my side is that Nanotech has different units in different cities, and in fact, multiple lines of businesses, right? How do you manage to keep a track of all aspects of all businesses?
So to appraise you and the rest of the audience, we are into textile processing aids, garment printing inks, beauty care ingredients, and rubber-related chemicals. Very good question that how we make sure that we develop and structure these verticals. We very well started from being a textile chemistry business to having to diverse into these 3 different units. And it takes time, definitely. First, it doesn't happen overnight. It was started with myself single-handedly and one of my colleagues, both of us single-handedly handling these all 4 units, and nothing was really structured. When we came to realize that if we want to grow in each of these verticals, we have to structure them and make them aligned. So pehle to, there needs to be accountability, there needs to be responsibility, and that needs to be delegated to each individual for each of the verticals. The back-end operations can remain the same. Your customer service, your sales coordination, your HR, your marketing, your production site, your store, warehousing, finance, accounts can all remain same. However, your sales teams, your product development teams, your R&D has to be differentiated. That will be the driving force of these verticals. And then you make sure that you're tracking all of them on monthly, weekly basis, and individual teams are setting up their goals and then reviewing their goals on weekly basis. And then you come to a common platform on every month and quarter basis to make sure that you're discussing that how each of the verticals or business line is performing. And then you also get to learn from other business verticals that if one is performing better or doing differentiated stuff, how can we learn from them and do something that can add value to a different. For example, a textile processing client might be different vis-a-vis a rubber chemical client or a beauty care client. It's a very different market, but some things can be picked up from each of these verticals to implement into another. And most of the things remain same, obviously, other than the technical part, other than how the consumer behavior is, how the customer behavior is, what their demand is. A lot of things remain same. And if something unique or something that has helped to add value in one can be taken from the other and can be regularly tracked, it is very important to know that if you're horizontally expanding, it obviously adds up to your operations cost also. It's not that easy कि आप आज आपके पास 100 product हैं, कल को 500 होंगे, and then you have 1,000 products. You don't want little sale for 100 products, but you want good sales for obviously the 80-20 principle will always work, and you'll have 20% products driving 80% of your revenues. In each of these verticals, this will happen. But while expanding horizontally, you want to make sure that are you going to all the audience that you look to go to. Obviously, you cannot have every customer on your kitty, and you don't even want to work with all the customers. You want to select first what are the clients, what is an ideal client for you. तो अगर आपको पता है कि आपका ideal client कौन सा है to your product. For example, if I'm selling a high-end fragrance vis-a-vis selling a fragrance which is for a low-end market, I can't go to a Lux or I can't go to a regular soap seller and position these fragrances to them. They'd say I have to sell to masses and lakhs. It will not suit us. So you need to segment your clients. You need to know what market you're pitching, what kind of products that you have in each of your division, and you structure an approach in terms of measuring everything. What you measure will grow. What you don't measure will not grow. So measurement techniques are there. I mean, you can measure through sales parent. I mean, for sales, you can measure through sales incentives. You can offer targets to your team. Then you can incentivize them on those parameters, and then so on. These things are easy to be done. However, they need to be structured well and made sure that they're not too horizontally spread to be not driven or not tracked.
Right. Thank you so much. But then again, we know that Chemical Brothers is a market leader in garment printing sector. But then again, you are also venturing into personal care ingredients and products. What, according to you, is the future for that, and how are you planning to compete with already established brands out there?
So since we're a B2B business, we are essentially, so we have an arm that is developing and going into B2C also. But essentially, we are currently focused into B2B, which is offering raw materials or ingredients to the personal care industry. It's definitely one of the most lucrative industries to be in right now. Every second advertisement that you'd see on TV or on your screens would be from Mamaearth or Wow's or The World, and all the new products that are popping out, Mom's Co. These are not the kind of names that you would have heard probably 5 years down the line. 5 years back. So the industry is changing very fast and very quick. A lot of these young people today that are spread across in India are more aware about not just what they're eating, but also making sure that what goes onto their skin and hair is healthy and clean. So there's a new trend into clean beauty, in functional beauty, and the consumer is very well aware of what they are using and what does it contain. You'd see shampoos as sulfate-free, paraben-free, all these trends coming in. There's a market. India is majorly driven as a price-sensitive mass market. And then there is a slight amount of audience, very small amount of number that is into niche value-driven segment. So that segment is more knowledge-driven and more informed than the mass-driven. The mass is definitely dependent on economies of scale. You build a product, you build quantities for it, and then you go out to sell it. However, there's a different strategy if you want to get into specialty. For specialty, you have to be technically well equipped. You have to know what you're selling. You have to be able to convince the R&D formulator. You have to be convinced to inform the brand that how can it add value to their end product, and how can they differentiate by using your ingredient or your chemical per se, and they'd be able to make their differentiation strategy in the market. So technically informed on about Zuri, otherwise you will be left behind. So it's a techno-commercial world today. You cannot just go out and sell anything if you're not technically aware about it. Even in Coke, you'd have to know what kind of nutrients. Even if you're going out to sell Coca-Cola, which is as simple a product, you have to know इसमें क्या carbs हैं, क्या proteins हैं, क्या sugar content है, what is the preservative that they've used, what all does it contain. So if you know it, I think know it well, and you're also informed about what is happening in the industry, what's Pepsi doing vis-a-vis Coke, and how is Coke better than Pepsi. I think it adds even more value to the client's mind that, okay, he's come with an informed, he's come with some information that the person knows.
Right. I guess the innovation lab would be the very much helpful in this thing, as in knowing what you are producing, knowing what you are making. But then again, my next question aligns on the line of since you are in the chemical business, right? What are your thoughts about sustainability and concern for environment? What steps are your company taking in that direction?
Definitely, you cannot succeed today if you are not following the regulations and the compliances that have been set by the industry, or the industry standards that have been set. In the textile area, there are compliances like ZDHC, which are regulated by guys like GOTS. These are all GOTS, OQTEX. These are all the standards for the textile industry, and they're very well set and very stringent in terms of making sure that all the parameters in terms of legal aspects, in terms of environmental aspects, in terms of your quality aspects and your product stewardship are concerned are well maintained in at the factory that you're producing your goods and your operation site. So you need to make sure that what is your disposal mechanism system, what is the raw materials that have been used. There is a strict list of so REACH is a compliance that is worldwide used for chemicals. So you need to make sure that all the chemicals that you're using in your raw materials are REACH compliant. And then there is a restricted list called MRSL, Material Restricted Substance List. You need to make sure that आपका जो भी materials आप use करें, those are not part of that restricted list. And once you're doing that, there are compliances and regulatory organizations that are making sure that you're adhering to these rules and regulations that have been set by them very strictly. If you don't do it, then obviously you cannot go and get big business. If you want to be serving the multinationals, if you want to be serving the clients that I just spoke about, and if you want to be serving the specialty business, you will be definitely asked these questions by your compliance. So more than a choice has become a compulsion now. And why do you want to see it as a compulsion? You want to be the forefront runner in terms of getting these certifications on, because they definitely add value once you're going out to serve your client. And as Nikhil also mentioned, that you have to portray yourself as a multinational. And it's not just portrayal in terms of words and portrayal in terms of your website looking good, but it's actual your shop floor or your actual working standards that are maintained on those minimum levels that will make sure that you're taking off from a minimum benchmark that's been set by the industry.
Right. Thank you so much, Shail, for answering these questions. These were all from my side. But then again, we would like to move on to our next panelist, Mr. Tarvinder, sir. Sir, competition in your line of business, which is outsourcing software technology, is very high. How do you deal with this competition?
What I have experienced firsthand, or like during the entire journey, I have worked with in the initial part of my professional career. I have worked with the MNCs where I have worked with their software solutions. Initially, SAP, Microsoft, HCL, Infosys. They were more focused on solutions part of the product part of the business, and then slowly and steadily they also moved into the services part. And similarly, you can see small and medium scale companies, they just followed the services path from the beginning itself, just following the bigger companies. So it was it looked very, you can say, fruitful in the beginning, like just jump on the service bandwagon and just start outsourcing service company that's okay and find clients on either bidding portals or LinkedIn or things like that. But believe me, once you get into that well, there is no way coming out, because you don't grow professionally and you have literally no technical development or no technical growth to share. So the only way out of that well is that define your niche, define your expertise, and keep on working on that expertise and niche with new innovations. Use your every team member as an independent innovator, as an independent contributor. Like we are not, you can say, large-scale manufacturing units where we have 500 or 1,000 laborers working on same machines, similar kind of machines, doing the similar kind of operations. We are graduate engineers or postgraduate engineers sitting in a group, and we should behave like that. Each individual should be an independent contributor and independent innovator. That's why what we leveraged. We leveraged each individual and we specialize in certain segments, and then we keep on rolling new solutions in those segments. Like I'll just give you a very small example. We even brainstormed that, okay, let's visit Amazon.com. And then we sit in a group and then we say that, okay, let's find out a solution which is not there in Amazon. And what can we launch as a product which even Amazon is not providing? Or let's visit maybe Facebook.com. Let's visit maybe Instagram. and let's see what better can be done than Instagram. So if we are specializing in a social media solutions or social media, we are developing social media platforms or social media apps, then the only way to specialize in it is that to deliver a better product than industry leading products. That's the very first thing which we tend to do and which we aim to do. Because I used to tell each of my team members is that the person who is using Instagram on his phone, the same person would never like to use a low quality app or the app which has similar features like Instagram or even lesser features than Instagram. Why would anybody like to use that if we already have free apps which we are using and accustomed to use? Unless you change the industry or bring in a new vision or improve the existing solution, there is no way going up. No way. So the only way to create your differentiation is innovation, especially in technology industry. If you don't innovate and you sit like in our company, there is a very open discussion which we do in team, and every new joining is asked, what is your specialty or what do you do? And if the joinee says that I do whatever the customer says, then he is in for a hell of a drive. Because no, you can't be driven by customers or you can't be driven by project requirements. Then you are not engineers, you are data entry operators. You are engineers when you listen to customers' problems and you bring solutions on the table. And those solutions should be new, innovative, improved on previous solutions. Only then we're going to grow. So that's our mantra of creating differentiation in our business.
Right. Thank you so much for answering that question. Also, I couldn't help but notice a spark on your face when Nikhil sir mentioned that making $1 is easier than making a rupee. I have a question on that line as well.
Okay.
I mean, most of your clients are also foreign based, right?
Yeah.
Is it because the Indian market does not pay much, or is it that foreign clients are easy to work with?
Please see, the point is that now we are on a brink where pricing is almost getting similar to medium. Indian clients are paying similar prices which small and medium scale companies are paying abroad. So we are almost coming into the same price range because Indian companies are, as you are listening to all these three entrepreneurs sitting with me, they are my potential customers, right? And all three of them understand the value of technology in their business. They are of my same age or maybe 5 years, 8 years younger than me, but they understand the power of technology and importance of technology. And they are ready to hire best technology to get their business improved or for their business growth. So the similar bandwagon is happening in the entire Indian continent or even Asian subcontinent. Like if you go to Singapore, if you go to Dubai, if you go to Hong Kong, people are adopting technology like anything. So yeah, Nikhil, what Nikhil said is earning $1 is easier than earning a rupee. That is true, but that was more true a few years ago. But now I think it's coming on the same line because of these budding entrepreneurs and you guys, we never had these kind of sessions. We were like always burdened by our tuitions or always burdened by our entrance exams. Nothing else troubled us, or there was no way out of that tunnel and after that we were only focused on jobs. That's it. So it was after spending or wasting 5 years in jobs, we realized that, man, this is an unending way and we will end up creating ourselves a robot. Only then we moved out of that and tried to create something unique out of ourselves with our ideas. But now your young brigade is trying to learn about the entrepreneur journey and trying to learn about how to innovate, how to grow. So amazing, guys. Hats off to you, all of you guys. And so Indian market is already evolved. And believe me, India is, next 20 years, India will be the best growth story of the world. So you are in hell of a ride and ride it with fun. That's what I want to say.
Thank you so much, sir, for answering that. I believe I truly agree with your point that India is going on a roller coaster ride of growth.
We haven't seen a bit of it, which is coming. Believe me, we haven't seen a bit of it. and you will be amazed with what you see in next 5 to 10 years.
That's great. I have another question, last one for you. You have been in the business for 2 decades. You have worked with sales and marketing, the tech side of the business, the customer side of business, the human resource of the internal organization.
Yes.
What has been your experience? As in, what are the things that you have learned from every aspect of your business?
The best thing I learned from every aspect of business is humans love to work with humans. Show empathy. Show empathy. Have a soft corner.
Right.
At the end of the day, money doesn't count. The people who are standing behind you or sitting beside you, they count. So whether it's human resources or sales or marketing or customers, if you have empathy, if you care for them, they'll care for you. And secondly, try to find out like-minded people, as many like-minded people, even if they are less, that is good. Like-minded people with common vision, common goal, common purpose, you will excel with a lot more pace than wasting your time and mending minds of people who are not thinking on your bandwidth. Right.
I guess the game cohort might have also helped in the networking part of it, and we get to know people from other industries. How do they work? What can we learn from those businesses? Networking plays a very big role in growth as well.
It does.
Right. Thank you so much, sir, for answering these questions. Now we have questions for Jasjot, sir, our next panelist. Sir, most of us must not, so we are students, right? We are college students. This is something not taught to us in college. We do not know much about what is an NBFC, right? A non-banking financial company. So what exactly is an NBFC, if you can put some light on that, and how does WePay exactly works?
So as you said, basically an NBFC is a non-banking financial company. So it's not a bank, but it's still, a company that has financial services, provides financial services. Some of the common examples that you guys would know in everyday life is like Bajaj Finserv or say India Bulls. All these are NBFCs, Tata Finance, Mahindra Finance. So these companies don't deal with customers who want to have, accounts in their companies. There are some companies, NBFCs, that you can hold accounts in, but it does not work in a traditional way. So NBFCs primarily lend money to individuals. They act just like a bank in lending money. The only difference being that our processes are not that stringent. We don't have hard and fast rules about documentations, and every NBFC has its own rules and regulations about its products. So saying that, WePay deals in 3 products. As of now, we have commercial vehicle loans, and we have loan against property, and we just recently added education loans to our portfolio as well. Our target audience is different than what a bank would audience. A bank would, look at the income tax returns and would look at your paying capacity based on documentations like income tax returns and all that. An NBFC like us, we are more flexible with that. We are more flexible in assessing your income, by our own methods. We look at your account statements, we look at your expenses, we put in some extra time to see, what your income is like, because you don't file your returns. There is a huge population in the country. Approximately 98% of the people don't file their income tax returns in India. So, those are our target audience. We have a huge market going there.
Right. Thank you so much for answering this question. Now we do have a much more clarity on what an NBFC is and how does WePay exactly work. I do have another question, which goes like, so we know what NBFC is right now, right? There are a lot of other options, new options, which are coming up in the, I would say, financial sector or in the fintech sector, right? For say, we have neobanks coming in. We have banks offering buy now, pay later options. So what is your plan to stay relevant in the future?
So like you mentioned, fintechs, a lot of fintechs are coming up. They're closing down on the same pace. as well. But the generation that is going to be getting loans in the coming 20 years is definitely going to want it to happen over their smartphones. They don't want to go into a physical office to process their loans or file an application. So we are definitely on that route. We are going, our education loan, a major portion of it is completely digitally onboarded. The payments are made online, the KYCs, the verifications are done online. So we want to have more of a hybrid model. Like, we do want to interact with our customer physically as well, but we do want to make it easier for them to not collect all the paperwork and come to us. We are willing to do that digitally, but we still want to keep a personal touch with the client, because I think it's very important to have that, to understand their needs, because having, like Nikhil said, that having a personal relationship is very important, and to reach out is very important. So one of the major reasons I'm not a big fan of fintechs is because they invade a lot of your privacy. If you download a fintech app, they can see your contacts, they can access your text messages, everything on your phone is accessed by them. So I'm not a big fan of that. And the AI doesn't work any other way. The AI, they have to assess your credits and to know if you are eligible for a loan. The AI needs to access your phone. So not being a big fan of that, I think I'm more into a hybrid model where you can have personal touch with the customer as well, but you can make it easier for them to provide documentation digitally.
Right. Got it. So yeah, I mean, we now know that WePay is going to be working on this education loans part of it, and it's going to be more on the future ready platform you are building, right?
Yes.
I did have this question, but then again, this one makes more sense now. As in, what are your plans of scaling WePay to a much larger audience? Because the market that WePay is currently targeting is big, right? In terms of both volumes and numbers. So how are you going to go and capitalize on all of this?
So basically, NBFCs have a choice in front of them that, most NBFCs want to, grow into banks at one stage or the other, excluding big name NBFCs like Mahindra and Tata Finance, who are only interested in, doing their own products like their three-wheelers and their commercial vehicles. They do not aspire that, but most NBFCs like us want to grow up and become banks one day, like AU Small Finance and Capital Local Finance all started as NBFCs. HDFC Limited started as an NBFC to start with. To do that, you really have to improve your client base. Your client is basically an asset in your NBFC. And my asset right now is the low income in the rural and semi-urban group. Banks don't consider them to be good assets. And in order to, work, every NBFC needs lenders, and we need to borrow money so we can give it forward to our clients, and we're playing in the margin game, in the difference of the interest we get money at, and we offer it at a higher interest rate, slightly higher than what we borrow at. But when your lenders start seeing that, you want to expand, they want to also see your asset quality being improved. So in 2019, my interest rates were, around 20%. But in order to expand, I had to bring them down to about 18%. And now moving forward to bring even more lenders, attract more lenders, I have to bring it down to 15%. So how it works is that higher the interest rate, the higher is the risk ratio. Because if a person is willing to pay higher interest, that means he's not getting a loan from anywhere else. So it is a higher risk profile. In my case, what my mindset is, usually what the mindset of any company would be to, decrease the interest rate, but also improve their asset quality. So that would mean that they won't be extending the benefit to new customers, to customers who, are not eligible for loans. But I think that I want to stay with this, thing that I started, to be the first stepping stone of any individual who does not get formal loans from banks. So I want to, give them a chance to get some money and put it in their business or whatever, and prove to be, creditable borrowers. So as we grow and we reduce our interest rates, we want to keep the same market. So that allows us to, expand, keep the volumes high, but also decrease our interest rates and get some more lenders on board. So, that's the plan to expand. And we're looking at expanding into 2-3 major cities, Mohali, Jalandhar, Amritsar to begin with. And that expansion is rolling out in our commercial vehicle branch. We're doing a lot of commercial vehicles in outer Ludhiana and Khanna, Sarhand, and going towards Jalandhar. So we were just waiting for the technology to come in. Now that we have some technology being implemented in the company, we are scaling forward, but we plan to keep our target market the same. We do not, we don't want to move away from the customers that help us build a company in the last 2 years.
Right. That definitely answers my question, and definitely future looks good. Now we do have another round of questions. So this will be basically a roundtable discussion, and I'll be asking a very simple question, and you guys can basically answer that in as concise way possible. And we'll move on from one person to another, and this is how it's going to happen. There are a bunch of questions, right? Until then, I would also like to tell the audience, to tell everyone present here, you guys can put questions that you would like to ask to our panelists. We can get to them after this round, or we can have more questions. That would be great. All right. So the first question for this round is, how did you make your first sale? If you can tell your experience about it. We can go with Jasjot, sir.
So my first sale was basically just, from word of mouth in the market, because in the lending business, the sales are really not a problem. You put up an ad that loans are available, and you'll have a room full of people the next day wanting a loan. But yes, wall painting, marketing really did help with that. So I think the sales part would be more relevant to my other friends here.
Right. Shail, sir, would you like to answer this?
Yeah, I've discussed this before as well. It's a funny story. First time I went to sell a product, I was actually asked by the client that how much CD can we offer. Yeah, CD meant cash discount, and I had no idea of what CD was. और मैं client के सामने बैठा हूँ, and I told him, I was like, sir, जितना बोलेंगे कर लेंगे. So he's like, आप किसी senior को लेके आइए जिसको कुछ knowledge हो. I was an absolute fresher. I immediately came out and I called my father. I was like, why do I not know this, and why did you not accompany me to this meeting? So he told me, he's like, if I would accompany you on every meeting that you have, then I would probably be answering everything and I would get to know. And when I actually received my first order, I was still confused about ये PI क्या होता है और PO क्या होता है. So I was just asking my client कि आप PO भेज दीजिए. तो वो तो आप भेजेंगे, आप PI भेज दीजिए. बोला आप तो आप भेजेंगे invoice, performer invoice तो. So it was as raw and I'd say virgin as possible. So there was zero knowledge, but there was a lot of excitement because it was a lot of effort. I had to almost visit the client 4 times before I could get the order. And after having to realize कि आप 4 बार तो ठीक था, कभी-कभी 4 साल भी लग जाते हैं client को on board लाने के लिए. So it's a game of perseverance, and that's it. Nothing else, just perseverance.
Right. Very interesting story. If we can move on to the next panelist, Tarvinder sir, if you'd like to answer.
Yeah, hi guys. So mine was also a very interesting story. I am a Microsoft certified system engineer. So I went with one of I was working in a software company as a networking engineer. I had no clue of sales, and I was not there to do the sales. So I was there to implement the networking. That was back in 2001. And the software guy was there to install the software on the network, which I was going to set up. And while I was doing the networking setup of all the entire office computers, I saw the owner of the company. He was very troubled and going through a lot of different papers. And I asked him, man, why are you so confused and why you look so troubled? Just out of empathy. And he said, back in 2001, and he said, कि मेरा सारा सिस्टम मैनुअल है. That was a newspaper distribution system. आप लोगों ने तो अभी न्यूज़पेपर देखे भी नहीं होंगे शायद अब. आजकल तो आते भी नहीं है, right? So that was a newspaper distributor of Tribune and Dainik Jagran back in 2001. And he said कि मेरे पास more than 60 vendors हैं और उनके accounts में maintain करता हूँ manually और distribution maintain करता हूँ, and there are a lot of different things which he used to maintain manually, and he was totally confused. And I said, मैंने अभी सॉफ्टवेयर प्रोग्रामिंग भी सीख रहा था मैं साथ में, तो मैं कहा सर इसके लिए तो मैनेज करने के लिए बड़ा इजी से सॉफ्टवेयर बन जाएगा. कहता सीरियसली? मैं कहा सर बिल्कुल. मैंने पेपर पेन उठाया और वर्क फ्लो बनाना शुरू कर दिया. मैंने कहा सर ऐसे ऐसे कुछ फॉर्म्स बनेंगे, ऐसे एक रिपोर्टिंग बन जाएगी और ऐसे एक पॉइंट ऑफ सेल्स बना देंगे जहाँ पे आपके जो जा रहे हैं न्यूज़पेपर वेंडर्स उनको सेल हो जाएगी और यहाँ पे बैठ के आप रिपोर्टिंग देख लोगे. एंड इट वाज लाइक, वो कहता सीम्स वेरी इजी. तब टैली वगैरह भी इतने पॉपुलर नहीं होते थे या शायद होते ही नहीं थे. तो he was amazed with my workflow only on paper and pencil, and I get to sell. वो कहता कितनी प्राइस, मैंने किसी से पूछा नहीं, कुछ नहीं. मुझे लगा यार इसको बनाने में इतने दिन लगेंगे. मैंने अपनी सैलरी के हिसाब से, बैक दैट टाइम माई सैलरी वॉज 2000 रुपीज पर मंथ. तो मैंने अपनी सैलरी के हिसाब से ही उसकी मैंने बोला सर इसको बनाने में 6 महीने लग जाएंगे. तो मुझे लगा कि मैं बनाऊंगा तो इतना टाइम लग जाएगा, कोई सीनियर बनाएगा तो थोड़ा जल्दी बना देगा. मैंने शायद 15 या 20 हज़ार रुपये मांगे होंगे, तो ही एग्रीड टू गिव दैट. उसके बाद मैं जब ऑफिस गया तो मैंने कहा सर मैं चेक ले आया हूँ 10,000 रुपये का, तो सॉफ्टवेयर सेल कर दिया. वो कहते गया तो तू नेटवर्क लगाने था, सॉफ्टवेयर क्यों सेल कराया. एंड दैट वाज माय फर्स्ट सेल्स. एंड आफ्टर दैट मैंने कभी भी नेटवर्क इंजीनियर का काम नहीं किया. आफ्टर दैट वाज माय फर्स्ट एंड लास्ट जॉब ऑफ अ नेटवर्क इंजीनियर. आफ्टर दैट आई वाज शिफ्टेड टू सेल्स.
That is so nice to hear how unexpectedly started the software business.
So that was my first employer. You can say he founded that quality in me that I am good in sales and I should be working in sales.
Right. All right. Nikhil sir, would you like to tell about your experience?
Yes, I fondly remember my first sales. So when I joined my family business, तो 6 महीने फैक्ट्री के अंदर काम करने के बाद वी हैड दिस चेतक स्कूटर. ये आज से 12 साल पहले की बात है. वो चेतक स्कूटर लेके मैं एक प्रोस्पेक्ट जो कस्टमर था, he never used to buy from us, वो किसी और से खरीदता था. So I went to him and greeted him in the best way possible, and I was like, uncle, why don't you buy from us? Why do you buy from someone else? So he gave me his explanation regarding the price and the product and everything. So I was very confident. अब मैं 6 महीने फैक्ट्री में काम कर चुका था, तो मुझे पता था कि मेरा प्रोडक्ट है वो बहुत अच्छा होने वाला है. But why? So I knew that he would give me that price. मैं अच्छा प्रोडक्ट भी वो प्राइस पे जिस पे वो खरीद रहा है, अगर वो सेम प्राइस पे भी दूंगा तो भी वो नहीं लेगा. But I had this long-term thinking in my head कि एक बार इसको अपना प्रोडक्ट चखाना है, इसको टेस्ट करवाना है. How does Dhand steels work? So maybe आज कम प्राइस पे ही सही, but we'll get into his comfort zone, into his habit very soon. So I said him, what price do you buy at? So he said me, I buy at so and so price. He simply said, I'm going to give you at a lower price. Just try it out. Give us a chance. So what he could see, he said to me, बेटा तू हजे young है, तू price जेड़ा मैंने कह रहे हैं वो अपने पापा ने पूछ ला एक बार. So I was like, not a problem, uncle. I'm sure my father would be okay with it. I can finalize the deal. So please give me a chance. So all I was doing in the beginning was asking for a chance to experience what a sale feels like. Sale कैसे होती है. तो सबसे पहले एक सेल में प्रॉफिट ढूंढने जाना मुझे नहीं लगता था कि वो ठीक है कि मैं पहले प्रॉफिट ढूंढने जाऊं. तो पहले मैं चाहता था कि मेरा प्रोडक्ट जाके कोई देखे तो सही मैं बना क्या रहा हूँ. व्हाट एम आई ऑफरिंग ऑन द प्लेट. एक बार वो प्रोडक्ट उसके पास चले जाए, मार्केट में चले जाए, उसका फीडबैक भी लूंगा मैं कि कैसा लगा, कैसा था. And slowly I'll keep penetrating into their comfort zones by providing that value proposition. वो हमेशा से मेरे हेड में था कि एक वैल्यू प्रोपोजिशन तो मुझे डिलीवर करना ही करना है, एक डिफरेंशिएशन तो प्रोवाइड करनी ही करनी है. So I got that first sales and I was very happy. I came home and with a मिठाई का डब्बा and I told my mom कि आज मैंने पहली बारी सेल किया and I got my first order. So she was very happy and it is a memorable moment. And वो customer आज भी he doesn't pay me as good as my other customers do. but I still work with him out of that first emotion of a win that I had with him, and to say him to pay my gratitude towards that day. तो आज भी वो मेरे कस्टमर हैं, आज भी मैं उन्हें देता हूँ, आज मैं मार्केट से बहुत कम प्राइस पे उनको आज भी सर्व करता हूँ, and I tell him that I'm very proud of you. You gave me that one chance and I'm very proud of you. So that is my first story.
Right. Very interesting stories coming from everyone. I'm so glad to hear this. Let's move on to our next question. It's very basic question. As in, is there anything that you would have done differently throughout your journey until now? So yeah, I mean, Jasjot sir, would you like to answer?
There is, every day you think that you could have done something differently. You could have, if you could get a fresh start, what you could do. But I think the decisions you make at the time you make them, they make the best sense. That is why you make that decision. So you have to be confident with that. But I think if you ask me, then for me, I would have, if I could do it over, I would have moved back to India, 2 or 3 years earlier than I did, and have started, taking care of the company earlier than I could have. So that's the only thing I can think of.
Right. Thank you so much for answering. Shail sir, would you like to go?
Honestly, a lot of things. I think uske upar ek aur session ho sakta hai. Because every day is a new learning. The things that I took almost 3-4 years to learn, I wish I could. Now I teach my people to adapt to those things in just 3 or 4 months. जो चीजों को मुझे 3 से 4 साल लग गए. So when you are in a family-run business in a small structure, there's no orientation or training per se. सब कुछ खुद ही सीखना पड़ता है. So obviously it's a fight to find mentors, to find coaches, to find experts from those particular functions who can help you out. But fortunately today, consulting is widely available with forums like GAME, with forums like LMA in Ludhiana, IEC, all these things happening around. It's very easy to find mentors. So having a mentor is very important. So I think I wish if I had a mentor early on, even before I opted to have one, would have been much better.
Right. Thank you so much, sir, for answering that. Tarvinder sir, would you like to go?
I think the initiative which we started as an organization maybe 2-3 years ago, being specialized in certain business solutions and certain business segments, rather than focusing on services. I think if I could have started it earlier, then our journey could have been far ahead now of the curve. The things which we are trying to do right now, revolutionizing the entire industry, we are trying to do it. If we have started maybe 5 years ago, then I think maybe I wish we could have been one of the names you already hear on stock exchanges these days or in Time magazines these days. So that's our wish. But no, it's okay. I am working on my health and I'm extending my age more so that I get to catch up with my lost years. And yes, I will try to be there on that stage, even if it's a little bit late.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir, for answering that. I guess that should be the spirit everyone should be adopting to these days. Nikhil, sir, would you like to go?
Yes. For me, I missed on doing my MBA, Master in Business Administration. So one thing, if I were to start afresh, I would have underwent an MBA from a well-reputed college, and then joined this business. So that's from all my fellow panelists. All of you can hear is that there are only 2 things. या तो और जल्दी सीख लिया होता और ज्यादा नॉलेज एक्वायर कर ली होती, या जो भी रिस्पेक्टिव बिजनेसेस कर रहे हैं उसमें और जल्दी घुस गए होते. बिकॉज दैट इवन इन बिजनेस द टाइम इट वर्क्स लाइक कंपाउंडिंग. इसमें भी इनिशियल ईयर्स में आपको बहुत जल्दी प्रोग्रेस नहीं मिलती है, बट देन a compounding effect takes place, after certain years, कुछ 5 साल बाद या 10 साल बाद वो आपको एक ऐसे रिजल्ट्स इतने फास्ट पेस पे मिलने स्टार्ट हो जाते हैं जो आपको इनिशियल ईयर्स में नहीं मिलते हैं. तो इनिशियल ईयर्स में a lot of struggle, there is a lot of struggle involved in the initial years. So one thing that I think जो मुझे कर लेना चाहिए था वो एक MBA की डिग्री थी. But then I've promised myself that I am still going to do it, not thinking about मेरी एज क्या है या क्या एज हो रही है, because learning तो अब अगर एंटरप्रेन्योरियल जर्नी पे निकले हैं तो लर्निंग की कोई एज नहीं रहने वाली इस जर्नी में. यू हैव टू कीप लर्निंग और सीखना है और बढ़ना है.
निखिल, इंडिया में ज्यादा MBAs शादी कराने के लिए होती हैं वैसे तो.
आई वेरी वेल अंडरस्टैंड. मेरी शादी हो चुकी है, सो मेरा मोटिव अलग है
कि ग्रेजुएट है.
नहीं, आजकल तो शायद इंजीनियरिंग भी इसीलिए होती है, जस्ट टू ऐड द.
I respect Nikhil's thought, but traditional education I don't think carries as much value today as skill learning and practical learning. I think
it's okay. It's okay to continue learning. That's okay. Nikhil, we missed. That's fine, man. MBA or anything else. We got married. That's enough.
मुझे MBA शादी कराने के लिए नहीं करनी है. To learn more and to upgrade myself.
Right. I guess I did have a lot of more questions, but then again, we are learning. We are on a short time list. I do have one last question I would like to ask. What mindset should a young entrepreneur have to be successful? And this goes for college students, school students. How should we prepare ourselves from the beginning, day one, so that we can, we do have that passion in us, we do have our dream set, but then again, what kind of mindset should a young entrepreneur should have? In the same order, Jasjot sir, would you like to go?
So I think, the first mindset that any young entrepreneur should have is do not limit your ideas to financial constraints. You can't be, if you want to do something big, but if you can't do it the first day, don't let go of your plan. Start small. If you can't have a 1 crore plant, start with a 5 lakh plant, invest small, start your journey somewhere. You have that big idea in your head, but to get to that big idea, take small steps, make smaller goals, short-term goals, keep meeting those goals, and then you'll eventually get to the bigger picture. But just because the bigger picture seems far away, do not give up on it. Do not just let go of it. Work towards it. Eventually everything will fall in place and you will get there. So if you have an idea in your mind, but you look at bigger companies and you see that these companies invest so heavily, how are we going to do it, and all that, just keep that aside and keep that aim in your mind and start small somewhere. If you want to make a drone, but you can't get the components together, start by making the fan here and there, and then go into the motor, go into the frame. It will take 2-3 years, but it'll be worth it. The journey is always, the fun is in the process. Once you reach there, it's you're happy, but the actual fun is in the process. So start that process somewhere. And that's all I'll say for young entrepreneurs.
Thank you so much, sir. I guess this will definitely help a lot of people who are present here and who are listening to you. Then again, Shail sir, would you like to go?
I think I absolutely agree with Jasjot. Start small, start quick. And I often talk to a lot of my younger friends or my cousins or people I know. So जिसको भी कुछ करना है उसको बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्स करना है. उसको ऐप बनाना है कि जिसमें ऑटोमेटिकली वार्डरोब खुल जाए या कुछ ऐसा करना है जिससे कुछ अलग ही हो जाए. तो ऐसा सब नहीं करना चाहिए. स्टार्ट समथिंग वेरी सिंपल, जैसे जसजोत ने बोला. सिर्फ एक वेबसाइट बनाइए, एक सिंपल ऐप बनाइए, बिकॉज इट इज नॉट जस्ट अबाउट दैट प्रोडक्ट. इट इज मच, देयर इज मच मोर टू बिजनेस देन जस्ट योर प्रोडक्ट. अ प्रोडक्ट इज मेयरली अ बाय प्रोडक्ट to business. I think that we've all also learned in the last 6 months of being in the cohort with game. So starting simple and starting very something, कुछ भी easy पकड़ के कीजिए, तो उससे आपको चीजें सीखने को बहुत मिलेंगी. बिकॉज पहले आपके 3-4 साल सिर्फ सीखने में ही जाएंगे. So जब आप उस चीजें सीख लेंगे, then work on it, and you want to make a, I mean, we've seen people going out to space now, from selling books on a website to having to develop Blue Origin. Jeff Bezos did what he has to, and then there's another guy who started with a payment gateway to now having to develop rockets. So it's not something that cannot be done. But starting simple and not going too complex in the beginning is all one needs to do. But just starting is important.
That's right, sir. Thank you so much for these insights. I guess we can take example from Jeff and Elon as well, how they started small, how they started at unusual times in their life as well. But then again, let's move on to Mr. Tarvinder, sir.
Okay, so guys, what I would suggest is, from my perspective, the biggest thing is to have fun. If you don't love what you do, there is no way of doing it. I still remember my earliest websites, which I used to make sitting in my bedroom on my laptop. And to show them, like, I got 5 stars on my shoulders. Like, I was you can say, most prized in the city. I used to show them to the people like that. And my friends used to tell me, that was like 15, 18 years back, that Tarvinder, you love your work so much. And I used to say, yes, I do. And now when I go back and I see those websites and I do like this look horrible. This is literally, this is what I was doing. But yes, but I was in love with that thing. That's why I was able to craft it to such a level now where we are. Until unless you love what you do, there is no fun in like copying others, or there's no fun in like किसी एक की placement हो गई है एक job में तो मेरे को भी वही job करनी है, किसी एक की placement हो गई है एक company में तो मेरे को भी उसी company में जाना है या package के लिए जाना है. Seriously guys, 5-10 साल के बाद ये चीजें मैटर नहीं करेंगी, एंड यू विल बी स्टक इन अ वर्ल्ड जहाँ पे आपका सुबह उठ के काम पे जाने को दिल नहीं करेगा. एंड व्हाट विल यू डू विद दैट लाइफ? यू विल बी वर्किंग ऑन समवन एल्सेस ड्रीम्स. चाहे आप जॉब भी करो, बट वो जॉब में आपको मेन पार्ट इज द फन. यार आपने इतने साल स्कूलिंग की, इतने साल आपने डिग्री के लिए किए, फिर ट्रेनिंग ली, किस चीज के लिए? एक मिजरेबल लाइफ के लिए कि लाइफ को एंजॉय करने के लिए? किस चीज के लिए किया हमने ये सब कुछ? क्यों कर रहे थे हम ये इतनी सारी मेहनत और इतना सारा कुछ, अगर हमने उसको एंजॉय ही नहीं करना है, अगर हम उसको प्यार ही नहीं करते हैं अपने प्रोडक्ट को, अपनी सर्विस को, या जो हमारे टाइम से निकलता है, हमारे लिए हमारे टाइम से ऊपर तो कुछ नहीं है ना, वो कभी वापस नहीं आएगा. हमने उसके लिए पहले लर्निंग में टाइम लगाया, फिर अब हम उसको करने में टाइम लगा रहे हैं, फिर भी हमें उससे प्यार नहीं है, तो फिर अब हम क्या करेंगे और अपनी लाइफ में? तो आई थिंक वी शुड लव व्हाट वी डू, और एटलीस्ट वी शुड डू व्हाट वी लव and get fun out of it, get affection out of it. फिर उसके बाद amazing results आएंगे and you will see miracles happening. फिर चाहे आप start small करो, baby steps लो, जो मर्जी करो, but रोज प्यार करो उससे. That's what I will tell everyone.
Right. After this, listening to this, I definitely remember this famous quote, which goes like, fall in love with the process, not the results, and that's something which can keep you going every day. With this, I would like Nikhil sir to go on and tell us.
The main part, Tarvinder Paji has just said the main part. Please love what you do. ये 5,000, 10,000 आज कोई जॉब आपको एक्स्ट्रा पे करेगी, बट आपका इंटरेस्ट नहीं है उसमें. आज पैसे के पीछे मत भागना, बिकॉज ये पैसा जो है, जो आप काम इंजॉय करके नहीं कमाने वाले हो, वो थोड़े देर के बाद वो एस्केलेट नहीं होगा. सो टुडे योर फोकस हैज टू बी कि मेरा इंटरेस्ट किस चीज में है, मुझे प्यार किस चीज से है. वो चाहे जॉब आपको बहुत कम पे कर रही हो, बट यू शुड सी मैं इस जॉब, इस कंपनी से सीखने वाला क्या हूँ, कितना कुछ मैं सीखने वाला हूँ. The experience, the way of working, ये सब चीजें, और साथ में not feeling a burden on your head going to the work in the morning. That is the greatest blessings you guys can have. And then that slowly blessing will convert into more knowledgeable skill, and then that skill will start paying. And जब वो skill pay करना शुरू करेगा ना start, तो it is going to pay you leaps and bounds. and you are going to excel. Secondly, as my friend Shail and Jasjot said, you have to take action. You have to be agile. Action लेना बहुत जरूरी है. You please get out of that lethargic body of yours. Get your mind onto your toes. And ये समझ लो कि मैं जितनी देर बेड में लेटा हूँ और वेट कर रहा हूँ या प्रोकास्टिनेट कर रहे हैं कि हाँ 1 घंटे बाद उठेंगे, आधे घंटे बाद उठेंगे. So these things are, you're killing yourself. You're building a wrong habit of procrastination, and you are going to kill your dreams by doing this. Build up a good habit. जल्दी से जल्दी मतलब get a routine set. अगर आपका अलार्म कितने बजे बज रहा है तो these are small micro habits. आपका अलार्म बज रहा है, switch it off, get up, get under the shower, straight away without thinking anything. And you'll see कि जो आप ये प्रोकास्टिनेशन करने वाले थे, ये जैसे ही एक मग पानी का गया या फिर आप शार के नीचे गए, within 5 minutes it will go. Within 5 minutes this feeling will go away and you will be way ahead than the time. And जैसे ही आप ये action mode में आओगे, your brain is going to trigger happiness. You're going to be in a happy mood because you're not going to be guilty or sorry of not getting up again. And one thing is the main thing that I believe in today's world is very important. Please stop swapping your phones. जो phone पे हम लोग बार-बार reels देखते रहना या social media पे swap करते रहते हैं, आगे के आगे वो देखते रहते हैं. People, trust me, ये जो swap करने की habit है, इससे क्या होता है, I was reading somewhere, इससे आपकी लाइफ में हर चीज को स्वैप करने की आदत पड़ जाएगी आपको. You are going to swap every opportunity that comes onto your door. आपके दरवाजे पे इतनी अच्छी अपॉर्चुनिटी खड़ी होगी, but you are going to swipe it. Again, your mind is going to swipe it. कोई नहीं, फिर दोबारा आएगी, इसके बाद फिर दोबारा आएगी. ऐसा नहीं होगा. One of those missed opportunities is going to be the one that could have changed your life for good. That could have changed your life. So there are two things in today's world. ये फोन के ऊपर 2 चीजें हैं. एक है entertainment और दूसरा है edutainment. So please track your time कि आपके फोन पर इतनी सारी एप्स आ गई हैं. ट्रैक कि मैं फेसबुक पे कितना टाइम स्पेंड कर रहा हूँ, मैं इंस्टाग्राम पे कितना टाइम स्पेंड कर रहा हूँ. प्लीज लुक कि आपके उस पे कंटेंट कैसा आता है. जो कंटेंट आ रहा है वो क्या सिर्फ लोगों की लाइफ देखने के लिए है या इज इट गोइंग टू ब्रिंग यू सम लर्निंग? क्या आपको उससे कुछ लर्निंग आने वाला है? ट्रस्ट मी, दीज इयर्स आर द मेन गोल्डन इयर्स ऑफ योर लाइफ. प्लीज डोंट स्पेंड देम ऑन एंटरटेनमेंट, रादर एजुटेनमेंट की तरफ आगे बढ़ो. अपने आप को एजुकेट करो एंड वो एजुकेशन स्किल में बदल के जब आपको पे करना स्टार्ट कर देगा, हाईली पेइंग बन जाएगा, then you are going to be successful in reality. You're not going to be successful swiping your phone and spending time on your phone. So ये फोन को भी 2 नजरिए हैं देखने के. आप इसको यूज कर सकते हैं एक अपॉर्चुनिटी के लिए जो आपकी लाइफ को एक जे कर्व में लेके जाएगा. डू यू अंडरस्टैंड जे कर्व? तो स्टार्ट स्मॉल, नीचे जाएंगे, फिर ऊपर चले जाएंगे एकदम से. सो फॉर दैट यू हैव टू स्विच टू एजुटेनमेंट. एंड द अदर इज वेस्ट ऑल योर टाइम एंड कीप कर्सिंग द टाइम, द पेंडेमिक, अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं है, जॉब नहीं है, और so many other things you can cry about. So what do you want to be? Are you going to be into that league who is going to keep complaining, or are you going to be executing in your zone? You set up a time for yourself. 1 घंटा आपका फोन बंद करके अपने साथ टाइम स्पेंड करो. Take a pen, write down what you want to do, what your goals are. And every day 1 hour discipline, if you spend with yourself, is going to give you a lot of clarity. And a lot of fulfillment will come when you take action on those things. Please, people, you have the ability to live a dream life. You have all the right to be very happy and prosperous in this life. Please make the right decisions for yourself. Stop being lethargic. Please take steps. You're going to win. Believe in your process. You are going to win. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I definitely think this is something which will definitely make every one of us realize a few good things and work on that. But then again,
I would love to second Nikhil over here. There is a very famous series of Arnold Schwarzenegger's success that is called Pumping Iron. You guys can look at it, that series that is on, I think, on Netflix and maybe on Amazon Prime. And in that series, Arnold told that if you want to sleep fast. His accent bhi aisa hai. It's like European accent, Irish accent. If you want to sleep fast. While you're sleeping, people are working their ass off to get successful. So जब आप सो रहे हैं तब भी दुनिया काम कर रही है सक्सेसफुल होने के लिए. तो जस्ट इमेजिन जो निखिल जी ने बताया, जब आप फोन स्वैप कर रहे हैं तो तब दुनिया क्या कर रही होगी, राइट? So try to maintain a account of your time and try to be more focused in your life. I think young generation, हमारे nation में बहुत बड़ी power है ये. We are the most youth population of the world. And we can literally bring a lot of change in this world. अगर हम really focus करें.
Right. Thank you so much, sir, for these words of wisdom. I guess I would like to first of all apologize. We have went overboard with the time. But then again, it was a wonderful discussion. A lot of good answers we got out. And a lot of inspiration above all. We got everyone here can, second me on that we have got that motivation, we have got that inspiration from listening how you worked, what are your aim. So yeah, I would like to thank you at the same time for being on the panel, sparing some time on the Sunday evening. And the whole ESL family would like to thank you for that. Thank you so much, sir, everyone, for being here. With this, I would like to end the panel discussion. Thank you so much.
And I would like to use this platform to tell everyone, whether you guys are students of technology or any other stream, and if you guys need any help, any mentorship, anytime, you guys get my number from Ashutosh and Nikhil from Game as well. And we have offices here in Ludhiana and Mohali. And you guys can reach me anytime for guidance. You guys need to discuss any idea, validate your idea, or you need guidance in further pursuing your ideas, or you want to partner with someone, Technocrats and me are here. Right?
Thank you so much, sir, for that hand of assistance. I believe if someone does reach out, we'll definitely connect them with you.
Okay, guys.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting. Thank you. Nice being here.
Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jasjot, sir.
Thank you,
Shail,
and good
sir.
evening.
Thank you, Nikhil, sir.
Take a second to congratulate
Hi, guys.
yourself. You have come just to the right place. Your Kit is India's largest community-based digital platform that helps students aspiring to study abroad. Our machine learning algorithms match your profile to ideal programs in universities abroad. And by abroad, we mean any country or university that fits your needs. When you sign up with Your Kit Premium, a highly experienced and dedicated counselor will work closely with you all the way till you fly out to your dream university. And we have made the whole experience very simple for you. Here is how it works. Step 1. Country and course identification. Your counselor will work with you to identify your target country and ideal courses based on your interest. Step 2. University shortlisting. Our machine learning algorithms and your counselor identify and shortlist universities for you. Step 3. Profile building and documentation. We help create the best version of you based on the university and course requirements. Your counselor will help you strengthen your SOPs, LORs, essays, and resume. Step 4. Applications and scholarships. We will review all your applications for any errors and help you in applying for scholarships. Our financial advisors provide you with the perfect solution to help you pay for your education. Step 5. Visa and pre-departure. Mock visa interviews and our pre-departure checklist get you ready for your new adventure.